The pressure is mounting at Ibrox as Rangers prepare for one of their most important European nights in recent memory. After a domestic campaign that's left fans disillusioned and critical, the Europa League now stands as a lifeline, not just for silverware, but for pride belief, and a sense that this season hasn't been all for nothing. The Light Blues are set to take on Athletic Club in Bilbao, and with the tie balanced at 0-0 after the first leg, everything is still to play for. It's the kind of evening where legends are made or broken, where one moment of brilliance or one lapse in focus could swing the pendulum entirely. It's also the kind of night that a club like Rangers, with its history, its scars, and its expectations, lives for. Barry Ferguson, a man who knows better than most what it means to wear the badge and shoulder the weight of this club, now finds himself leading from the touchline. Back in 2008, he helped guide Rangers to the UEFA Cup final as a player under Walter Smith, and now all these years later, he's standing on the brink of a similarly historic run, only this time as manager. Reflecting on the journey, Ferguson admits that 6 weeks ago, he wouldn't have dared imagine himself here preparing his team for a European quarterfinal second leg in Spain. Yet here he is, proud, focused, and ready for the fight. He knows as well as anyone that it's not about him, that it's about the players, about the badge, about the thousands who have made the journey, and the millions more watching from back home. But you can't deny the emotion in his voice, the glint in his eye, when he talks about how special this opportunity is. This isn't just a football match. This is a test of character. Ferguson has demanded that his players embrace the challenge, not shrink from it. He's drilled them on what to expect in a place like San Mamés, a stadium steeped in history, roaring with passion, and known for its hostile atmosphere. Athletic Club are unbeaten at home since the early stages of the season, and they don't intend to see that record broken tonight. But Rangers have been here before. They've stared down the doubters, stood tall in the face of adversity, and clawed their way through difficult ties when the odds were stacked against them. The manager has asked for a balance of grit and composure. Keep the ball when you can. Fight for it when you can't. Defend as a unit, attack as a team, and above all, leave no regrets. As the team arrived in Spain, the mood was tense but focused. There's an understanding within the group that opportunities like these don't come around often. For some, this might be their last chance at European glory in Rangers colors. For others, it could be the beginning of something bigger. But if there's one thing Ferguson's been hammering home, it's that they got to suffer together and fight together. These games aren't won by individuals. They're won by collective spirit, by unity, by sheer will. While the build-up to the game has rightly taken center stage, it's impossible to ignore the noise surrounding the club's transfer business. The summer signing of Nedim Barami for over £3 million was meant to be a statement of intent. The Albanian international arrived with big expectations, touted as the creative spark that would close the growing gap to Celtic. But fast forward 8 months and things haven't gone to plan. Rangers find themselves miles behind in the league, with Celtic closing in on yet another title, and Barami has become a symbol of what's gone wrong. Brought in to be a dynamic presence in midfield, he's instead struggled for consistency, influence, and fan support. What was once seen as a shrewd bit of business has quickly turned into a talking point for all the wrong reasons. He's been the target of heavy criticism from supporters and pundits alike. Former players have openly questioned the wisdom of investing in someone who's failed to deliver, especially when there are young prospects waiting in the wings. During a brutally honest chat on the Open Goal podcast, Barami's name came up again, and not in a flattering light. One voice labeled the signing as nothing short of disastrous, while others wondered why he keeps getting minutes ahead of promising. Academy talents. 16-year-old Adam Malian, who's already made the bench, was name-checked as someone who could bring more energy and identity to the side than Barami has shown all season. It's a sentiment that's catching fire among the fan base. With the team often looking flat and disconnected, there's a growing belief that homegrown talent might offer more than the expensive imports who have failed to justify their price tags. Supporters are asking tough questions, and they want answers. Why persist with a player who's not up to the standard when hungry kids from the academy are ready for a shot? Right now, Barami's future at Ibrox is hanging by a thread. There may still be time for him to turn things around, but with each passing match, the patience is wearing thinner. And nights like tonight only serve to magnify the pressure. If he's named in the squad, all eyes will be on him. If he's not, It might signal that the club has already started looking toward the future, one that may not include the Albanian midfielder. Meanwhile, the captain James Tavernier has been doing his part to rally the troops. Speaking to the press, he described the stadium in Bilbao as beautiful, but made it clear that he hopes this isn't a one-off visit. After all, the final of this year's Europa League will be played right here, and Tavernier would love nothing more than to return with silverware in sight. He knows it won't be easy, far from it, but he also knows that Rangers have been through this kind of gauntlet before. That run to the final under Giovanni van Bronckhorst still burns bright in the memory, even if it ended in heartbreak. He hasn't even been able to rewatch the final. The sting of a penalty shootout loss still too raw. But the experience has stalled him, and he believes it can do the same for this group. He spoke about the importance of leaving everything on. The pitch of having no regrets, of being prepared to suffer for the badge and for each other. He talked about togetherness, about fighting not just for yourself, but for the fans, for the badge, for the teammates who've been by your side all season. There's no room for passengers. Every man who steps onto that pitch tonight, whether from the start or off the bench, has to be ready to give their all. That's the standard. That's the expectation. And if they meet it, they've got every chance of writing a new chapter in this club's storied history. Because as much as tonight is about reaching a semi-final, it's also about sending a message that Rangers are still a force in Europe, still capable of going toe-to-toe with anyone, still a club with heart, with grit, with fight. That, despite the domestic disappointments, they're not done yet. Not by a long shot. Alright, let's get into the second part then. Continuing the tale where hope and pressure meet head-on with the roar of Saint Mamés echoing like thunder in the ears of every Rangers man who dares to step foot on that pitch. As the evening draws closer and the floodlights begin to flicker on over Bilbao, there's a strange calm in the air, a kind of eerie stillness that tends to come before either a storm or something special. Barry Ferguson, pacing the touchline in training, can feel it too. He's never been one for theatrics, but even he admits there's something different about this one. He's spoken with nearly every player individually in the past 24 hours. Not just tactics, not just positioning, but heart. He's reminded them of what this club stands for, of what it means to wear the blue jersey on nights like this. The legacy, the weight, the chance to be remembered. In the dressing room, there's not a lot of chat. The usual banter's taken a back seat. Players are taping up their ankles, tugging at their socks, eyes locked on the floor or staring blankly into space. You can almost hear the heartbeat of the club through the silence. This is no ordinary fixture. This is 90 minutes or more of blood, sweat, and grit to prove that Rangers still belong at the top table of European football. And as Ferguson looks across the room, he sees belief, not cockiness, not nerves, just a kind of hardened belief that comes from being forged in fire, from enduring the criticisms, the collapses, the scrutiny. They're ready to fight. The plan's simple, really. Stay compact. Press when you can. Don't get caught chasing shadows. But above all, take your moment when it comes, because against a side like Athletic, that moment might come only once. It could be a long-range effort, a late run into the box, a set piece. One decision, one strike, one flash of inspiration might change the course of Rangers' season or cement its collapse. From the first whistle, it's clear this is going to be a war of attrition. The home crowd is relentless, banging drums and singing until their voices crack. Every tackle is met with a roar, every pass with pressure. Athletic move the ball with confidence, but Rangers hold firm, their shape tight, their focus sharp. Connor Golson and John Sautar are putting their bodies on the line blocking shots, heading away crosses. Ridvan Yilmaz is tearing up the flank with purpose. And in midfield, Ryan Jack, once written off by many, is having the game of his life, snapping into challenges, barking orders, and showing why he's still trusted in the big moments. Then just past the hour mark it happens. A flick from Candwell in the center of the park finds Abdallah Sima on the break. He drives forward, skipping past one defender, then another. It looks like the chance might slip away, but just as the angle tightens, he squares it across goal. Danilo is there, one touch. Boom! Net ripples. Silence falls across Saint Mamés for the briefest of seconds. Then erupts again, this time from the traveling Bears, who've made themselves heard with one perfect chorus of noise. Rangers lead. It's a long way from over, but it's a moment, one they'll cling to. Athletic push back, of course. They throw bodies forward, chase every ball like their lives depend on it, but Rangers defend like a team possessed. Tavernier's rallying, everyone gesturing, shouting, leading not just with words but with example. The final minutes feel like hours. 5 minutes of stoppage time, then 6. The referee's whistle is glued to his lips, but still no release. Finally, after one last clearance into the Spanish night sky, it comes. Full time. Rangers are through. The bench clears. Ferguson drops to his knees before being mobbed by his coaching staff. The players celebrate wildly in front of the away support, who are bouncing, crying, singing, all at once. It's not just about a semi-final, it's about resilience. It's about proving the doubters wrong. It's about holding on when the whole world expected you to fold. And now, suddenly, the conversation has changed. Back home, the narrative that's been soaked in criticism is beginning to shift from "this season's a write-off" to "could." This be the turning point. Talk radio is ablaze with praise for Ferguson and his tactical nous. Pundits who only a fortnight ago were questioning his credentials are now calling him the spirit of '08 reborn in a tracksuit, but not everyone's convinced. There's still work to be done. The domestic situation is dire, and even the most passionate supporters know one European run won't paper over an entire campaign of shortcomings. Still, they're allowing themselves to dream again, and maybe, just maybe, that's what this run is all about. It's not about forgetting the pain. It's about finding the strength to push through it, about chasing a night in Bilbao and another one after that until the final. And somewhere in the midst of the celebration, the camera finds Barami. He didn't play tonight. He wasn't even in the squad. But he's there on the pitch, applauding the fans, hugging his teammates quietly, trying to find his place in a story that's moving forward with or without him. He knows the score. He's heard the boos read the headlines. But tonight maybe he remembers what it's all supposed to feel like, what it's all supposed to mean. As for Ferguson, he's already thinking ahead. Not about the semi-final, not even about the final, but about keeping this fire burning, about making sure this isn't just a fleeting spark. Rangers have given themselves a chance. That's all they've ever needed. A chance of fight and a belief that the jersey means something more. Because in Europe, under the lights, with everything on the line, this is where Rangers find their soul. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. There's a storm brewing in Govan, and its name might just be Serial Desires. Whispers are growing louder in and around Ibrox, hinting at the unthinkable. That Rangers top scorer, talisman, and unlikely hero of the 2024-25 campaign could soon be on his way out. It's the kind of rumor that would have sounded absurd just a few months ago. But as football so often reminds us, especially in Glasgow, nothing is ever truly off the table. And now, with Desires at the center of swirling transfer talk, fans are asking, is there any truth to it? Desires' journey to this point has been nothing short of remarkable. The Belgian-born Nigerian international took time to win over the Ibrox. Faithful, but since the turn of the year, he's transformed into a figure of towering importance. A hat-trick in the Scottish Cup, a dramatic equalizer in Europe against Manchester United, and commanding performances under new boss Barry Ferguson have solidified his place not just as a starter, but as a leader, captaining the side when Tavernier and Butland were unavailable. With 22 goals already this season, it's little wonder clubs on the continent have begun to circle. The interest from abroad, reportedly from Serie A and Bundesliga clubs, is not without reason. Desires has rediscovered the form that once saw him named top scorer in the Eredivisie and shine in Feyenoord's Conference League run. Scouts have noticed, and more importantly, so have sporting directors. Rangers find themselves in a classic dilemma. Do they cash in on a striker at the peak of his powers, or do they resist the overtures knowing that every goal he scores only raises both his value and his importance to the club's ambitions? Philippe Clement has remained tight-lipped when asked directly about the forward's future, offering only vague praise and the usual line about focusing on the next match. But those close to the club suggest that a sizable offer, particularly from a Champions League level side, could force Rangers to listen. After all, balancing financial realities with sporting ambitions has long been a tightrope walk in Scottish football, even for a club of Rangers' stature. Losing Désiré might seem unthinkable, but the board will also know that striking while the iron is hot could mean the difference between short-term pain and long-term gain. And so the question lingers in the minds of every supporter. Is Cyriel Désiré destined to become a Rangers legend, or just a fleeting chapter in a club built on them? Until there's clarity, every goal he scores, every wave to the fans, and every word from Clement will be dissected for clues. One thing's for certain, if Dessers is to leave, it won't be quietly. And if he stays, well, there's still silverware to chase, and possibly a legacy to cement. Greetings, fans! Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.